Hello, my name is Deborah Wright. I'm a financial sales manager with First Citizens Bank here in Goldsboro, North Carolina. I'm also on the Literacy Connections Bank on Wayne Advisory Board. Thank you for joining me with the FDIC's Your Money Values and Influences. Understanding your personal values and outside influences is an important first step in creating a plan to reach your financial goals. So let's get started. Section 1 of Your Money Values and Influences is Values and Money. We're going to discuss values, what they are, why they are important, and how they influence your financial decisions. The key takeaway from the section is going to be that understanding your values can help you set achievable financial goals. When we think about values, what are values? They are the people, the places, and the things that are important to you and guide how you make decisions. Your values will shape how you prioritize your time, energy, and money. So in a class environment, we would have a group, we would have a whiteboard behind me, and we would be asking the questions of the group, what are the people, things, and places that matter to you? So in this activity, a lot of times our participants are going to name things like their family, their community of faith, their school, their friends. A lot of folks nowadays are really place value on media, including TV, the news, social media, your community, your culture, your workplace. These are all things, people, and places that really matter to you. So what would your values represent? So your values could represent things relating to, well, with your community of faith, so your faith, that influences the decisions that you make. They could also represent independence. You might not think about that, but sometimes in a family situation or in the culture that you're in, being independent is something that's important to you. Creativity, self-expression, service, acts of service, giving, that can also influence your financial decisions. Your respect for and from others. And a lot of times people think that with money or with things that you get with money, that sometimes you can get respect for those things, or sometimes you use your money or the decisions that you make with your finances to show respect for others. So those are some of the things that we will hear about from our classes. So just take some time to think about what your values are and what they might represent. So when you turn to page 4 in your participant guide, you're going to see a scenario. We'd like for you to really consider how values influence your financial choices. So let's read the scenario together. The scenario is Valentina and Isaiah decide how to spend their tax refund. Valentina and Isaiah recently received their tax refund and they can't agree how to use it. Valentina put herself through college by working 30 hours a week on top of a full course load. She still has some student loans. Her mother is struggling to make ends meet. Valentina would like to give her mother most of their tax refund to use as a security deposit to move into a new apartment. She wants to use the rest to continue paying down her student loan debt. Isaiah's parents helped him with college expenses with money they saved over the years. He graduated with minimal loans and paid them in full a few years before he and Valentina met. He would like to put most of their tax refund into the savings accounts they've set up for their 3 children. He wants to use the rest to take a family vacation. He wants to spend quality time with his family. So when you read through that scenario, then the first question I want for us to think about is what values are influencing Valentina? You know, some would clearly say that family is a value that Valentina has a lot of weight towards, and also showing gratitude. She wants to help her mother out who's struggling to make ends meet, who has, always done everything she could to help her out. But also something that you may not really pick up on is the value of independence. So Valentina might be thinking that she doesn't want to have this debt, so she wants to be independent or free from the debt. But let's also think about Isaiah. What are Isaiah's values? Well, the last sentence, he wants to spend quality time with his family. Quality time is something that, nobody's going to deny is an important value to have. He also values education because he wants to save up for their children. And he also wants to provide opportunities for his children. So when you look at the two individuals in the scenario, is anybody right or wrong? Not at all. It just shows where your values can influence what choices that you make with your money. And we all have different values, and a lot of times they're going to be formed mostly by the type of life that we lived or the family life that we had. So if you were to come across Valentina and Isaiah, what would you recommend that they do? Normally, again, we'd have a group. We would, as a group, kind of talk about it. We might have a Valentina side or an Isaiah side, or some people right in the cool middle. Neither one of them are wrong. So maybe a good compromise, and this is something, if you're watching this and going through the series as a couple, as partners, as a family unit, understanding what your core values are going to help you to set realistic goals. And understanding each other's core values is going to help to be able to form a plan that works for everybody. So Valentina and Isaiah, they may decide to split the tax refund, and Valentina can put some towards her goals, and then Isaiah can put some towards his goals. That's a good, happy compromise that you might be able to see them to achieve. So when we think about the section, when we think about your values and how they influence your money, it's really important to understand that your values can help you to set achievable financial goals. All right, section 2, goals and money. If you want to turn to page 6 in your participant guide, that is where we are now. We're going to discuss what goals are and how you can use them to prioritize how you use your money. The key takeaway is that setting SMART goals helps you achieve your hopes and dreams for the future by providing a realistic plan to follow. So what are goals? When we think about what our goals are, we think, what kind of future do you want? These are your hopes and your dreams. Your goals are your desired results. So when you set goals, you must prioritize how you use money to measure, and you also need to measure and track your progress. So in this section, we're going to be talking about SMART goals, and that is an acronym for specific, measurable, action-oriented, reachable, and time-bound. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Setting these SMART goals is going to help you to achieve your financial plans. So let's get to, on page 6 of your participant guide, you're going to see the chart that's going to have the different questions. So you need to ask yourself, are your goals specific? What exactly do I want to accomplish? Why is this important to me? And is this something that I really want? Is your goal measurable? How much? How many? How will I know when I've met my goal? If you quantify your goal, it will help you track progress towards meeting your goal. It's just like when someone says that they want to lose weight. I want to lose weight. Well, how much do you want to lose weight? I don't know, I just want to lose weight. Well, how will you know if you've lost the weight that you wanted to lose if you didn't have a target number in mind? So same thing with finances. If you want to save up to have a certain amount in savings, or if you want to pay down debt, go ahead and set a measurable goal. That way you know you can watch the progress towards it. Also, are your goals action-oriented? You need to ask, what specific actions do I need to complete in order to meet this goal? And it could be something like changing your spending habits or setting up a savings account in order to save. In banking, there's times where people will have money in a checking account, or they're using a checking account, and we'll encourage someone to open up a savings, and they'll say, well, I keep extra in my checking every month, it's fine. Well, it's really, really easy when you have your money in an account that's transaction oriented to spend that money. And so sometimes the best actionable step that you can take in order to help achieve your savings goals would be to open up that first savings account. Also ask yourself, is my goal reachable? Is this something that I can actually reach? All goals aren't going to be easy, otherwise they wouldn't really take work to achieve, but your goal should never be impossible. You want to set goals that are going to be reachable, that you can attain, because even those smaller goals, those little bitty baby steps, they're going to give you that momentum and that drive and that excitement to go higher and higher and higher, to reach for higher goals. So make sure that your goal is something that you're going to be able to reach. And then the last letter, T, stands for time bound. Make sure that your goal is time bound. Make sure that you have a time frame and you say, when will I reach this goal? Or I would like to reach this goal by this point. All goals should have a clearly defined time frame. So we're going to want for you to participate in an activity. On page 7 in your participant guide, it has the scenario in here with Maria. She says, it's almost summertime and Maria wants to start planning for the next school year. She knows she'll need extra money for school supplies and clothes when her kids start school near the end of August, now 15 weeks away. Every year she tries to pull together the money she needs in the weeks right before school starts by picking up extra shifts at her job. It can be stressful because sometimes shifts aren't available. She remembers spending about $300 last year on school supplies and clothes. She divided $300 by 15 weeks and realized that's $20 a week until school starts. So ask yourself, what specific goal does Maria want to accomplish? Well, she wants to have enough money saved up, about $300, to send her kids to school in style and with all the supplies that they need. And also, why is it important? Because she wants for her kids to be well equipped for school. Measurable, how much money does she need? Says she needs $300. And how will she know when she's met her goal? She's going to have $300. Action oriented, what specific actions does she need to complete to meet this goal? So this is where you're going to be able to kind of apply some thinking. What specific actions will she need to take? $20 a week. If it was your household, would you be able to cut back on some meals out that you're buying? Or would you be able to find some options, some lower cost meal options, or to cut out some entertainment expenses? Could you do things to save on gas purchases even? There's a lot of ways that we can find to save a few dollars here and there. So Maria could, let's just say that right now she has kids who have extra subscription services that they pay for on a monthly basis even. Or there's some other activities that they like to do that are just kind of big money burners. So those are some things where she can cut back on. And also reachable. Is this goal something Maria can actually reach? $20 a week means different things to different people. But let's say that yes, this is something she can reach and time bound. She's going to give herself 15 weeks in order to achieve her goal. So you can write a SMART goal on the bottom of page 8 that kind of answers all of the questions and also creates an actionable plan. And so that's where, when we turn to page 9 in your participant guide, we want to encourage you to apply it to your own scenario, to your own life. So you might have a goal out there, let's just say, and I feel like that this is underestimating how much a brand new phone might cost. Let's say $1,000, especially if you're younger. You might be inclined to accept a payment plan with the cell phone provider in order to be able to have this $1,000 phone in your pocket, and you're going to commit to paying for it over 24 to 30 months. But let's say that you're a little bit more savvy and you want to pay in full for it. You want to pay cash for that phone. You want to own it. So you take your $1,000 phone that you want to purchase, and then you divide that by, say, 10. Well, then you know that you need to save for 10 weeks, 10 months, whatever the increments are, save $100. So that's, one SMART goal. Another one could be where you do want to set up a savings plan. You do want to have $1,000 saved up before Christmas because you want to give your kids the best Christmas that they've ever had. So you count the number of weeks between now and Christmas, and then you divide it out. And then you also talk about what changes can you make, what actionable items can you do, what action-oriented tasks can you give yourself in order to achieve that. So Section 2, goals and money. Just remember this key takeaway is that setting SMART goals helps you achieve your hopes and dreams for the future by providing a realistic plan to follow. All right, Section 3, external influences. We're going to discuss how external influences affect financial decisions and how to deal with those influences. The key takeaway in this section is that external influences impact your financial choices. Use strategies to stay focused on your goals. This one might be my favorite section because myself, as a geriatric member of the millennial population, I am going to be talking to myself and my peers, but also all of you in general. There are a lot of influences on your choices about money. When you look at page 10 of your participant guide, you see this picture of a laptop with a magnet and a whole bunch of emojis and thumbs ups and whatnot pulling into it. So the different external influences that are out there, we know them, we see them. They're advertisements, media, celebrities, peers, and friends. My mom used to say the old saying, well, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you want to do it too? It's so much more of an epidemic nowadays, I think, when we see these things and we want them. And it is absolutely human nature to want what we see that other people have. There's no denying that, and it's out there. So when we look at these external influences, we want to talk about identifying the impact that they have on the financial choices that you make. So your influences, they can be productive and help you achieve your goals, but they can also be very unproductive and they'll get in your way. It's important to understand how each factor influences your financial decisions. So when we look at the topics of advertisements, media, celebrities, peers, and friends, again, this is an activity that we normally do as a group, but when we look at advertisements, you might not even realize, but especially if you were on social media, there's a lot of ways for these social media platforms to earn their revenue, for YouTubers to earn their revenue by selling to you. And so your information is extremely valuable. You can have your phone on a table in a room while you have a conversation with a friend about sunglasses, and your phone, lo and behold, the next time you pick it up and you're scrolling through Facebook, a sponsored ad will pop up in your newsfeed for sunglasses. And I know that because it happened to me. And so I had a need for a backup pair of sunglasses, and I happened to see this sponsored ad. And so I clicked on it and I thought, these are relatively affordable. And then there was a coupon for buy one, get one free. I thought 2 for the price of 1. No, or buy one, get one half off. And so get one and then get the other one for half off. I was like, that's not too bad. It's like a 25% discount on each pair, right? I only needed the 1, but I ended up getting the 2. But how did Facebook know that I needed sunglasses? Our phones are listening to us. They're watching our browsing habits. We can go and we can click on something one time, and then next thing you know, you're going to see more ads for it. Just like with news, we can click on one news headline, and lo and behold, the only other news headlines that are going to be popping up in our news feed are going to be related to that. So those types of things are out there. When we look at celebrities, I'm going to deviate from celebrities per se, and I'm going to talk about my 5-year-old son, who, as soon as he was old enough to realize what cartoons were or superheroes were, going through certain aisles in the grocery store became much more challenging. And it's because advertisers know that they can sell more product if they put somebody cool on there. So you can sell to a child a lot easier because it's harder to tell a child no, because they don't have the impulse control yet. And then as adults, some of us, we don't really outgrow that lack of impulse control. So then it turns into, for ladies, people who are doing makeup reviews, and we'll see a celebrity who's marketing a skincare line, Guys, it's going to be shoes, it's going to be some swanky socks, it might be cell phones again, it could be vehicles. We're going to see people who we admire or people who we feel have social status, who are recognizable, people who are well respected, or even if they're not well respected, they're just really well known. We see what they have and we want what they have, and it's human nature. So we need to keep an eye on these influences in our life when it comes to our choices that we make with our finances. Feeling envious is human nature. It is normal. And so regardless of how hard we try, we're still going to have some subconscious influences from the things that we watch. And so that's why I always tell people to be careful of what you're exposed to and what you expose yourself to, because when you see something, it infiltrates your mind. It's going to be in the back of your head. So then the next time there's an opportunity to spend that money on that product, you're probably going to. These advertisers, they spend a whole lot of money to influence how we spend our money. So strategies for staying focused on your goals. The first one is to recognize the tactics used by advertisers. Another is to notice when and where you're tempted. The third is to control your environment, and the fourth is to build a pause. So when we think about the tactics, recognizing the tactics that they use, one of them is to give you a sense of false urgency. They are so good. Like I said before, a coupon code or advertising a sale at the beginning of the pandemic. A lot of high-end retailers, because their stores were having to be closed down, online they were offering sales as much as 70, 75, 80% off. And you think, I really don't need anything, but when is there going to be another opportunity to buy this clothing from this brand at this great of a price? I know that because I am one of those people who saw the sale advertised today only or this week only. They like to do it around holidays. President's Day, who knew you celebrate President's Day by buying a new mattress, a new living room set, or a new vehicle? So you're always going to see these tactics where they're going to give you this sense of urgency. There's going to be a time frame. This deal is good only for this time frame. You must do this now. And for some reason, we will jump. Just because there's that sense of urgency, we think, you know what, I must do this. I need to do it right now. And sometimes if you would just take some time and shop around, you can get something that's similar, comparable, or even better for a lower price. But because there's that sense of urgency right there in this moment, you feel like you've got to do it. Don't do it. Another thing is that we need to notice when and where we're tempted to make an impulse purchase. I don't know if you've ever heard, but they always say don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry. Again, I can speak that from experience, because if I go grocery shopping when I'm hungry, there are a lot of things that look really good to me that I didn't need to get to start with. And usually those are the kinds of things that you think, hey, I can break this box open before I head home, and I can go ahead and be munching on this on my way home before I unload the groceries. That's what part of that type of impulse purchase happens too. Something else is to think about, what are you doing when you're seeing an advertisement, or what are you doing when you're making an impulse purchase? Maybe you've had a rough day. Maybe you've had a really stressful day at work, or your kids just aren't listening, and you saw the right ad that said you need to treat yourself, that self-care, self-love is important. If you love yourself, you will do this, or you will buy this, you will spend this money, and you think, you know what? Self-love is important, and it's time that I treat me. There's a lot of times where we spend money on ourselves because the marketing just hit us in that weak moment. So that's where I encourage you, if you know that you've had one of those kinds of days, if you feel yourself headed into that territory of making an impulse purchase, then walk away, go take a walk, go do something else, go listen to some music, dance it out or something, in order to prevent making that purchase. Something else is to control your environment. So we only have a limited amount of willpower. It's really, really difficult to resist temptation, and when we take actions, when we are feeling tempted, we can make purchases or we can make financial decisions that work against our plans to achieve our goals. So that's where, we've talked about with marketing and media and social media, consider what's in your social media diet. You hear people say all the time, what goes in must come out. So is your social media diet really influenced by a lot of bloggers or vloggers or influencers who are doing nothing but showing you products all the time? Or is your social media diet watching what other people are doing with their lives, seeing the other things that people are spending their money on and thinking, man, I really want that, or I wish I had that? When you consider the diet that you're taking in online, it's really important. You've also got to consider the opinions of the people that you're following or that you're interacting with on social media. Are people making good financial choices that you're really watching and thinking, oh, I want to do this and I want to do that just like them? Sometimes people are making poor choices, or you might have, if you are considering investment options, there could be people who claim to be advisors, that they're going to help you with your money, help you make good plans, safe investments. Are these people who you can trust? You could also unsubscribe from mailing lists. I have a cute story about that I went through this phase where I was an extreme couponer, and it was very exhausting. I did get a lot of stuff for free, but I did spend a lot of money to save money. So looking back, it wasn't the best choice. My favorite story is where I had this whole thing for birthday month. My birthday is in July, and so I made sure that around May or so, I was signed up for every possible birthday freebie or birthday coupon that I could find on the internet. If a restaurant or a store was within an hour's drive from Goldsboro, which is a lot of places, y'all, I signed up to get something in my email inbox, and I spent the entire month of July chasing all these buy one get one frees or a free dessert. By the way, when did restaurants quit giving away free dessert for someone's birthday? Because I got a lot of coupons in my email for people from restaurants saying, if you come in, you get a free birthday dessert with the purchase of one entree and drink. For one thing, I drink water because it's healthy, and also because I like to save the $2 or $3 or $4 on paying for a drink or tea. So I would go to a restaurant to purchase an entree, and sometimes I can just live off of an appetizer. So I'm purchasing this big entree and paying for a drink that I otherwise wouldn't have bought anyways to get a free dessert. Meanwhile, I could have just driven to the restaurant and bought myself the dessert and still came out cheaper than I did to go in to use that coupon. So life lesson there, just because you have a coupon doesn't mean that you have to get it. There's a saying that we have in this curriculum that I love. It says, if it's not on the list, it doesn't exist. So when you're grocery shopping, when you are thinking about, hey, I've got this coupon to XYZ restaurant, got to use it before it expires, were you planning on going by there? Was it on your to-do list? Was it a must-have for this weekend? If the answer is no, then it doesn't exist. The coupon doesn't exist. The extra expense doesn't exist. Just write it off, forget about it, focus on your plan. You also can build in a pause. What's really important about that pause is before you hit checkout on that shopping cart online, close out the window, walk away from it, and I can almost promise you, it's like a 98% guarantee, y'all. When you go back to that website in a day or two, or when it's 11 p.m. and you X out of that window and you go back to that shopping cart in the morning before you get ready, get yourself ready to go to your job, to your place of employment, and you pull that shopping cart back up, you think, do I really want to spend that kind of money on those things? Chances are the answer is no. So when you're shopping online especially, it's so easy to breeze right through, look through the inventory, add it to your cart, hit checkout, boom, it's on the way. You're just waiting for that big brown truck to drive up to your house and drop off the goods. If you build in a pause, if you close out that window, y'all, I've got thousands of dollars of merchandise and shopping carts all over the internet right now today, but I will not be clicking checkout on any of it because I don't need it. And a lot of times when you also save your payment information, so if you save it into PayPal, you have it in Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, Google Pay, you have it saved to each retailer's website. With Amazon, it's rough, y'all. My son, he knows what those smiley face boxes mean. You know, the ones that are when they're sitting on your porch. He loves those things because he knows that something usually is coming in it for him, not for me. But when you have your payment information saved with these companies, it makes it that much easier for you to purchase it. I'm telling you, if I'm shopping on a website that was in my news feed with a coupon with a 40% off, ends at midnight, and it's $11.55, and I've got $100 worth of stuff that I didn't need 10 minutes ago sitting in that cart, but I have to get up out of my bed and walk to the other end of my house to go get my credit card out of my wallet and then back. I'm not purchasing it. So don't save your payment information in there, and you're going to save yourself a lot of money. I guarantee it. So, some more strategies for staying focused. Talk yourself out of it. If I've not talked you out of it yet, then just have a good conversation with yourself and think, is this a want or is it a need? Is this in my plan? Probably not. And then also think, if I spend this money now, what is the impact to my ability to achieve my goals? How is it going to help me or hurt me? Chances are it's going to hurt you. You can also calculate how many hours or days an item is worth. This is my favorite, y'all. So you think about how much you currently earn per hour. You divide the cost of the item by your hourly pay, and that's where you can say, this will take X number of hours of my life to purchase. Y'all, that $1,000 cell phone, if you divide that by, let's say, $10 an hour, because even numbers are easier, then you think about how many hours of work you have to put towards to get it. Does it seem quite as worth it? Let's think about a vehicle. If you're looking at a car, all the time I'll have a 16-year-old sitting in my office next to their parents, opening up a savings account or something for their birthday money. And, you know, and I'll joke and I'll say, you get a new car for your 16th birthday? Most people say no. But, you know, the kid starts, I'll say, well, what's your dream car? What's your favorite car? And they start talking about something that's worth half as much as my house, y'all. Well, sometimes they'll say, well, I work, I make my paycheck. I told my parents, I just need for them to buy it and I'll make the payment. Well, if you really think about the overall price of something, and then you think about how much of your life you have to give in order to afford it, it tends to make things a little less important to spend your money on. So on page 14 in your participant guide, this is where you can apply the things that we've talked about, asking yourself when and where do you feel like making an impulse purchase, and all the other things to consider before you make a purchase like that. And, you know, when we come to the end of the section, you know, when we look at the key takeaway that external influences impact your financial choices, we've talked about the strategies that you can implement in order to stay focused on your goals. And they're so important. When we think about the takeaways for each one of the sections that we've gone through, the values of money, you know, understanding your values helps you set achievable financial goals. Goals and money, setting SMART goals helps you to achieve your hopes and dreams for the future by providing a realistic plan to follow, and your external influences, how they impact your financial choices. Use these strategies that we've talked about to stay focused on your goals. They sound really simple, but in practice, it can take a lot of discipline and it can take a lot of practice. So especially when you're talking about your goals and you're setting a goal that has a number, and you're setting a time limit for your goal, and you're trying to track and you're trying to do all these action items in order to achieve these goals. I want for you to rejoice and celebrate each small little victory that you make. It can be your 1 week out goal. And then it gives you that motivation to have a 2-week goal. And then when you get to that first month, then you get even more excited. To me, what's really encouraging and really exciting is when I get to see folks who start off with these small little bitty baby steps, who before thought, there's no way, Deborah, I can't do this. I can't own my own vehicle. I can't be a homeowner. And over the years, I've been in banking for a while. It's really neat now to see folks who are driving down the road in their own vehicles that they own, that are paid for, that live in nice homes that they were able to purchase themselves, and they're able to put nice clothes, nice shoes on their kids. They are able to take family vacations, and these are folks who come from backgrounds where they otherwise would never have imagined being able to do it. It doesn't just happen. And unfortunately, it's going to take some work, but fortunately, you have a lot of resources here with Bank on Wayne, with this program that we have. You're more likely to take action if you work quickly. So you have the resources here. You've been able to jot down enough in each one of these take action or one of these try it modules where you've got the scenarios and you can write out some notes. On page 16 of your participant guide, you're able to write out your actual plan. And I think that this is probably one of the more important things that you're going to do out of the entire series, because if you don't have a plan with some type of financial goal that's stated, and you don't have a way to achieve that plan, and if you're not tracking it, then you don't really know if you've made it anywhere. And this is where I would really encourage for you to reach out to your resources here, to reach out to Lee Holtz with our Bank on Wayne program. She is an excellent resource for you. There's other resources that are available. If you look on page 17 of your participant guide, it's going to refer you to consumerfinance.gov. It has a lot of resources on there that I will print off or I will email to my clients to give them some additional resources that are not bank specific, but are going to give them some things that they need. Also, fatherhood.gov, that's going to have some resources for fathers who need to put their values into practice. Healthymarriageandfamilies.org. A lot of this particular module, I think that it can be helpful for couples, for partners, for families to be able to communicate a little bit more effectively about what your values are, what your goals are, and how you can all work together instead of trying to pull in different directions. So I would encourage that. Absolutely reach out to Lee Holtz with the Bank on Wayne program here at Literacy Connections. She would be more than happy to work through your plan with you. She would love to know what your plan is. She would love to be able to celebrate with you. She will be happy to give you a little woohoo whenever you need it. I would also encourage for you to have a relationship with a banker. Make sure that there's somebody. I know so many bankers here in Wayne County, and they're good people and willing to help you out. So, you have resources available. We want to spread the word. When you look at page 17 of your participant guide, you know that you have Lee Holtz. And again, you also have your friendly neighborhood banker. So I want to thank you for joining me for Your Money Values and Influences. The next module will be Your Income and Expenses. Thanks again.
This is Sherry Archibald with the United Way of Wayne County. Bank on Wayne is a Literacy Connections program and is funded in part by the United Way of Wayne County. This video series of Bank on Wayne was made possible by a generous grant from Enjoy Thrift Store, Goldsboro.